Good morning. What a week it has been in Washington, and what a weekend. Congress has been working day and night trying to come up with a solution to the debt ceiling crisis, and now we are told they are close. Well, how close? And what are the outlines of this supposed deal? Let's get right to our guest this morning for some answers and opinion. Joining us now live from Washington is Representative Frederica Wilson, a Democrat who represents the 17th Congressional District. It runs from north central Miami-Dade into Broward County. Ms. Wilson was elected last November. Congresswoman, good morning. Great to have you come in this morning. We appreciate it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning, Michael. It's such a pleasure to be with you this morning in all of Miami-Dade County and Broward.
Thank you very much, and you're looking splendid in your red hat. We would be disappointed if you were not wearing one. Congresswoman, do a little reporting for us, if you will. Where do things stand at this hour in Washington on raising the debt ceiling and meeting this Tuesday deadline?
Well, it looks like we might have a compromise. The president has been asking everyone to come together to compromise. We have to make foes friends, and that's what we're trying to do. It seems as if last evening there was a compromise hammered out, and it will allow us to raise the debt ceiling, hopefully, through 2012, which is something that the president wants.
Not
and it will
for 6
also
months.
allow that, not for 6 months. That would just tear us apart again. The country doesn't need that. So we need to go ahead and raise the debt ceiling like the other presidents had the opportunity to do. You know, we raised the debt ceiling 18 times during President Reagan's term. No one said a word. We raised the debt ceiling 7 times during President Bush's term. It was just a matter of procedure. But now, all of a sudden, the Tea Partiers are saying we should not, cannot, and will not raise the debt ceiling.
Well,
they're trying to hold the country hostage.
Yeah. Of course, Congresswoman, as you well know, the debt ceiling's been raised something like 100 times over the last, since 1917, I believe. On the other hand, the national debt now is $14.3 trillion. And as other members of Congress, Senator Marco Rubio in this show pointed out last weekend, for every dollar that the United States government spends, it borrows 40 cents. I mean, you would agree, would you not? That just simply can't go on.
Well, it can't go on, Michael, but what we have to realize is that's 2 different conversations. Raising the debt ceiling is one conversation, and that should be legislation on its own, or actions by Congress on their own. And then we should go back and look at how do we reduce the national debt. Do we reduce the national debt by reviving the tax code? Do we reduce the national debt by taxing the very wealthy, the millionaires, and the oil companies who have never paid their fair share? What do we do? But these 2 debates have become intertwined, which is causing a lot of havoc here in Washington.
And
I believe that we should reduce the debt.
And we have been watching the havoc from South Florida. And let me just ask you, the president in 2 speeches, nationally televised speeches this week, asked Americans to reach out to their members of Congress and express a point of view. Obviously, he wants the debt ceiling raised, and he wanted the longer term, and he wanted some new taxes. Tell us, what are your constituents telling you? What have they said in this past week?
My constituents are concerned about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Right.
That's what they're concerned about. And their number one concern is job creation. They want to know, Congresswoman Wilson, where are the jobs? They don't care about the debt ceiling. They want to work. And you know what? If we put every person to work who wants to work, we would have no debt. We would get rid of the debt in overnight almost. But we have been here saddled by the Tea Party from the first day we came, trying to do everything we could except work on jobs, which all of us said we were coming to Washington to do. That was the number one issue, and there has not been one piece of legislation brought to the floor of the House. And I just feel disgusted about this because that's what my constituents want, and that's what they're calling about.
Of course, and in Miami-Dade County, the unemployment rate is over 13%. It's still high in Broward County as well. Congresswoman, you know, the argument that Republicans and others are making about why the wealthy should not be taxed more is the Republicans say, look, these wealthy people are the job creators. If you tax them more, they will create fewer jobs. You don't buy that argument?
I don't buy that argument. I think that everyone should pay their fair share. And I also think that we need to go after the oil companies who pay absolutely nothing. And we need to look at the tax code. The tax code is out of whack. When we look at that tax code and we make sure that everyone pays their fair share, then I don't think we'll have this deficit problem. But we're in a recession, Michael. Let's remember that now. We're in a recession. And when you're in a recession and you begin to say you want to balance a budget, and you begin to lay people off from government jobs and from education jobs, everything across this nation, what are you doing? You're driving us into a depression. This is not the time. It took us 8 years of Bush tax cuts, of 2 wars that we're still trying to pay for, of all of the prescription drug benefits to insurance companies that we paid, that got us in this position. So you can't expect us to turn that over in 2 years. Yeah. It's going to take a long time.
It will.
This recession must pass.
Well,
first.
we
Let the recession pass first.
Well, you know, Congresswoman, apparently this Reed-Mitchell compromise bill, and there may be a vote here in roughly an hour on that over in the Senate, one of the elements apparently that we read about this is that it does contain a balanced budget amendment. Now, let me just ask you, you served in the state legislature, served well for many years. You know that the state of Florida does not allow deficit spending and borrowing to balance its budget. Why shouldn't the United States government also have that same rule in place? Why shouldn't there be a balanced budget amendment?
Well, the state is different from the nation. We have wars. We are in control of wars. We never know what will happen if a war occurs. We have depressions. We have recessions. We have all kinds of catastrophic incidents that would cause us to not be able to hold to something like a balanced budget. This is out of the realm of any nation in America that you could ever think of. It's not even something that we need to be dealing with. But what we think will happen is we will allow the Tea Partiers who are holding the nation and the world hostage because they don't want to compromise, we will allow them to vote on a balanced budget amendment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the Senate will reject that.
Yeah. You know,
but this will not be a part.
It's not going to pass.
It will
probably.
not be a part of the whole plan.
Yeah.
No, it will be a standalone piece of legislation, but it will give them something to say that they did do to their constituents.
Sure, they promised their constituents, those conservatives, those 74 freshman members of the House who served with you. A balanced budget amendment was part of the platform, at least for the Tea Party, those backed by the Tea Party. I just would point out to you, Congresswoman, that in a CNN recent poll, and let's put this up on the screen so people at home can see it, that 74% of Americans support a balanced budget amendment, 24% oppose. So 3 out of 4 people in this country think that a balanced budget amendment is a good idea, and you say, no, it's not a good idea.
I think that it sounds good. It sounds practical, but I don't think people really understand what it means. And if they really understood what it meant, they could understand it.
Yeah.
It's almost as saying that you would never borrow money to buy a car, you would never use a credit card for your personal family issues, you would never borrow money to buy a home. That's what it's saying. You would always live within your budget. And that's not even practical.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand those terms. It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds, you know, like something that we should do. But that not with a nation. This is America, and we grow every year. Every year, people are having babies. You know, we have immigrants coming in. We're growing. So how can you say that? You never can predict. You don't know what will happen.
Yeah,
We're
I
in a
understand.
nuclear time in the world. Yes.
Congresswoman, you know, I think we all understand trying to live within our means, and I hear, you know, I get dozens of emails every week myself from people who watch Local 10 News, and they have been watching what you and your fellow members of Congress do, and don't take this personally, but you know, people are angry. They are upset. They say this debt ceiling crisis is an onrushing train, and we're the ones tied to the tracks. Only Congress and the President can get us out of this dilemma. And where are they? I mean, do you hear that anger?
We hear the anger, but I also hear the President saying, compromise, make friends into foes. We must come together. We have to compromise. We cannot be held hostage by the Tea Party. We must come together and compromise. And so he invited everyone to the White House. He's reached out to the other side. He's even made progressive like myself sort of angry because he's moved very far to the right.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to compromise, so everyone else should be willing to compromise. And that's what it's all about. That's what governing is all about, and that's the way we do it in America.
All right, and we have 15 seconds left. I just want to say you've been there for 7 months, 7 tumultuous months. Are you having a good time? Is this where you're in the United States Congress, a big job? Does it agree with you?
It agrees with me. I'm here to create jobs. I'm having a huge job fair on the 23rd of August at the James L. Knight Center. I'm getting companies to come to Miami-Dade County and Broward County and invite all of the counties to come out and try to be hired. I know what's happening. I know the suffering. I know the pain. We're working with Haiti. We got TPS expanded. There are so many things that I've been able to do, and I'm honored to serve District 17 and the state of Florida.
Congresswoman, great to speak with you, and we will be at your job fair, and good luck with that, and thanks for coming in this morning. We appreciate it.